Now for this project, I'm going to sketch in these gorgeous white daisies with a white water-soluble pencil, and then I'm going to use some silver pencil on the top to add a little bit of zest and shine to it. I often use artificial daisies because they don't fade and you haven't got an excuse for not finishing them off because they've all dropped dead. These white daisies are also brilliant for using on this coloured paper. So you need to look at where the light catches the petals. There we are. And I'm going to put some orange in the centre for the polleny bit and bring the yellow out from the centre onto the petals themselves here. A little bit of silver for the shading. Can you see it shining? Lovely, isn't it? There we are. And a bit of shading here, a bit of brightness. Now when you're doing any kind of flowers, what you want to do is to get some kind of foliage perhaps just around a few of the petals so that they emphasise the structure and bring the darkness down through the back, and perhaps rather nice movement in the stalk, and bring another stalk upwards to carry the foliage. There we are. I've just completed this daisy study, and the coloured paper with the dry water-soluble pencil, it really does have such a lovely combination. And what you need to do is to try out the different coloured backgrounds with a lighter flower. I've also put darker green in behind the daisy, and this shows up and is a jolly good foil to emphasise the daisy shapes. This is a photograph of Netherwallop Church. The first thing we've got to do is to sketch in the main feature, which is the church. And I'm using a blue aquarelle pencil. I find that the aquarelle pencils are brilliant because they will dissolve as soon as I put water up against it, instead of the graphite pencils, which are really quite sooty when you work with them with watercolours, all these pencils. So I've sketched this one in here, and now I'm just drawing in some of the lovely lush green foliage and putting a little bit of this in here, the cow parsley, which we're going to use some masking fluid on. Right, so I've got the main movement coming up through here to the distance, a little bit of a path there, and the church with the surrounding trees in the background. Now I'm going to put on the masking fluid, which will prevent the watercolour washes from the pencils coming in on the white cow parsley. So we'll start off and put white blobs that are the cow parsley heads. So it's going to be a lovely light shape up against the dark trees. It takes a little time, and it also needs to dry absolutely thoroughly before we put any watercolour wash against it. Put a middle-sized bit here, and then I'm going to put the distant ones, which should be small, and that gives you a lovely sense of things shooting away into the distance. And a few grasses, and then we'll let that dry for a moment. Well, now the masking fluid's dried, I'm going to apply a kind of colouring in method of dry pencil work. So we could start with the sky and just quickly skate over the top, very, very lightly, because all this is going to be sprayed and it'll be all melding and blending gently in together. Now behind the church are the very dark bluey green trees, so I'm going to get two colours here and put this in round the back of the church, round over this side, and it wends its way right through to the back, blocking this in. and then going around the church and through the lace pattern of the cow parsley. Right, there we go. Just be careful that you don't lift the cow parsley masking fluid bits there. Put that through there, and a little bit of blue so it looks quite distant. Put that shape in there. Cross-hatching just a little bit, and then I can get a little bit of light green over here. This green perhaps. So we've got light against dark, dark against light. Darken that bit. So we've got light sky, dark trees, light middle distance tree, and that just wraps nicely around the cow parsley. Right, we need some attention into the church now. I'm putting on a pinky reddy colour for the tiles, and then blocking in some light grey for the flint work. And this can be really quite loose at this moment. I don't want to do too much detail, just a little bit harder in underneath the eaves. And then I'm going to put in the middle distance of yellow ochre, so it's a completely different colour to the rest of the picture. Here. Now when you've got lots and lots of greens, always look for the reds, because if you put too many greens together without having a little slithers of reds and oranges, it can look just overdone. A few strands of them here. Get some brighter greens on this foreground.